Hello, and welcome back to episode 8 of Living in the Jacket. Today we have our first call-in guest, Ainsley. So why don't you introduce yourself, Ainsley, and get us started?
Hi, I'm Ainsley. I'm from Ashton, Virginia, which is in Hanover County. I live on a small family farm, and I just recently retired as the FFA president for the Hanover FFA chapter. But I'm also the owner of Rooted in Agriculture, which is both my SAE and an ad account on Instagram where I advocate for agriculture and FFA.
Awesome. I know ours are very similar, so that's I feel like how we got connected on social media. And
Yes.
and then
Yes.
I know a little bit of your story, but explain it for everybody and for me so we can get the full scope of your FFA story.
Yeah, so my FFA journey started out way before my time in the Blue Jacket. Growing up, I always got to see my dad and his connections and the impact that FFA led on him. He went to a neighboring high school in my county and was a state officer. And so just to see how much it shaped him and the meaningful connections that he had and education that he had, I always knew that I wanted to be a part of that as well. And so as soon as we got to tour the ag building in 8th grade and we got officer applications, I put one in. And my freshman year of high school, I got to serve as the chapter secretary, and I got to go to all these fun events and compete in all these contests. But I didn't really have a why. It was mostly just to connect to my dad. When my dad passed away, I kind of got a new look online. And, I would give anything to have my dad back. But I saw that life is too short to not take steps, to not try new things, to not branch out, and to not give it my all. And so I kind of walked into FFA and all aspects of my life with this new kind of I guess as my mom and I say, we say a new kind of fire. And so that my grief really shaped me. And then I got to continue to grow in FFA and serve the organization that really served me when I was down in the dumps. When my dad passed away, I was really alone. And FFA provided me community, and it provided me with a purpose. FFA gave me a reason to continue going every day. And so that's why I do what I do. That's why I advocate for the industry and for the organization so much, is because FFA was really my saving grace during a time of such major loss. And I want everyone to get as much out of this organization as I have in the past.
Yeah, and that's great to hear your story. And thank you for being brave to share that, 'cause it can definitely be hard. And FFA does wonders for, I feel, everybody that is in the organization, whether they have a deep connection like you did with your dad, or they've never had someone in FFA before, but they're joining as a first-time FFA member in their whole family. And so I think that's just really great to share your story and to share how it has shaped you. And then so going into more for the whole many years that you've been in FFA, what competitions have you been involved in, and what are your favorite?
So I've had the blessing of competing in many different things. I started out in creed speaking. I really enjoyed creed speaking. And then I'm a horse girl through and through. And so, of course, I did hippology, horse judging. I love the horse judging side of things because I like to kind of argue my perspective, and I love how reasons give you that ability. I also competed in vet science, but I did not know that the contest, I'm a large animal girl. I want to be a large animal vet. I did not know that the contest was predominantly small animals. So that was my fault, and I studied for the wrong thing. But it was still a really fun time. I liked the practicum. And then recently this year, I tried out extemporaneous speaking, and that was really fun. I really enjoyed that. I love extemporaneous and horse judging are probably my favorite contests because I love the challenge of having to defend yourself or defend your placings and think of reasons why you're defending what you are. So.
Yeah, I know I've done vet science, and it definitely is a hard competition. So especially when you study
It's
for the
very
wrong,
challenging.
especially when you do the wrong criteria, you're like, what? You have half of the competition covered with some stuff, but then the other half you're no clue because you only study for basically
Yes,
half of the
and
test.
especially Yes, and like the dogs and cats, that stuff's kind of straightforward. But when they throw in like the birds, the rodents, that's where I'm lost. That's really
Yeah.
what got me that year. It was
Yeah.
still a fun time.
Oh, it definitely is a fun competition. I know I did it. I competed in vet science this year for my first time at area rally, and that was definitely an
Oh,
experience.
awesome!
Yeah. And
Yeah,
then
it really is.
it is. And then I know extempt. Oh, I've always wanted to try extempt. So it sounds so much
It's so
fun.
much fun.
Yeah.
It
I'm
really is, and like
You can go ahead.
you can really like. Sorry, you can really like it's you have to cover such a wide variety of things that you wouldn't even think about. Like, you study for things and you can get like you can bring in resources and stuff. But I remember I went to the area contest this year and my topic was cotton. And like, did I know anything about it? No. But was it still fun to try and defend my standpoint on it? Yes. Like, it's still fun.
Yeah, I feel like it's a way you can argue about anything that you just like. It's a way to just argue.
Absolutely. I
And
definitely recommend that contest.
oh yeah, I know we had a girl this year and she definitely enjoyed it. But so going on to our next question, what advice would you give to new incoming FFA members?
My biggest piece of advice, I kind of have two, is to be vulnerable. Everybody talks about how meaningful FFA connections are, but you can't have that without being like having some level of vulnerability. And it's hard. I applaud you for doing it. It's a hard thing to do. As you heard a couple minutes ago, like it's still hard for me to talk about my dad sometimes, but sharing your story and hearing others share their story is the only way that you can make those truly meaningful connections, and they will last you for so long and take you to so many lengths that you didn't even think. Like, for instance, I met kids we had an FFA and USA reporter event at National Convention. And I somehow met kids that I didn't even know I was going to Oklahoma State at the time. And I made connections and found potential roommates and found friends that I would have when I go on campus in the next couple of years. And my second piece of advice kind of goes along with that, and that's to truly just be yourself. When you're yourself, like there's a place for everyone in FFA. And I know that everybody says that, but you are so perfectly made. And so don't change who you are. This organization requires leaders not built by their accomplishments or how they dress or what they do in their free time, but wants leaders who have a humble attitude, who are hardworking, who like to serve others. And that doesn't require a certain outfit or a certain hobby or other kinds of things. And so like there truly is a place for everyone, and all walks of life are needed to both advocate for agriculture and serve the industry and work in the industry itself.
Yeah, and I always am like, if you are thinking about joining FFA, join FFA. It's like $15 for a year, and then you are there for the rest of the year. And if you don't end up liking it, that's okay. But the thing is, if you don't try to like it, you will never like it. And so I just feel, especially with your note about being vulnerable, definitely be vulnerable. Because if you don't want to try out anything new in FFA, you won't get anywhere. You won't probably end up liking it, which is really sad because we always want to welcome new members.
Exactly. And just like life, FFA is what you make of it. And so it's your choice to make the most of it and make those meaningful connections and reach out and be yourself. And if you don't, you might not have, like you said, you might not have that great experience like a lot of us talk about.
Yeah. And then so it kind of does tie in, but using the title of this podcast, what does living in the jacket mean to you?
For me, and I know a lot of people feel this way, living in a jacket means stepping into something that is bigger than yourself. Like our jackets represent who they are. They might have our name, our officer position, our pins on the front, our chapter on the and state on the back, and they tell our story. But it's really the blue thread and the corduroy of all the jackets that unite us on what our similar goal is. So we all have these different walks of life, these different stories told through our jacket, but we're all reaching towards the same goal. And so that's really the coolest part of FFA is agriculture is so diverse and FFA is so diverse, but we're all coming together to both better ourselves by surrounding ourselves with people who are great advocates and come from all walks of life, while also using our stories, our education to better this industry. And that's really just the wonderful and so special thing of FFA. It's so awesome when you go to places like national convention or state convention and you just see the sea of blue jackets. And you might not have met these people through any other kind of thing, but it's really FFA that ties you with so many people across the state and across the country towards something that you're really passionate about.
Yeah, and that's a great take on that. I know our vision of like the blue jacket and like what it means to us always differs, but I feel it always has the same core meaning, that it's just a big family, a big community. And if you do ever go to Indianapolis, you'll see on the news that they're like it's a sea of blue. So you definitely feel
Yeah.
like a community there when they're like the sea of blue jackets during national convention time.
Yes, and I will not lie to you. Official dress is not always the most comfortable thing to wear, but it's so special, and it's what makes FFA recognizable. And like as much as we can detest pantyhose and sometimes our heels, like it is really sad when you have to put it on for the last time.
Yeah. And so tying into that, like, what are your plans after graduation and just what are you going to decide to do with your FFA experience?
So my plans after graduation are I plan to run for Virginia FFA state office. And afterwards, I'll be attending Oklahoma State University to study animal science and double major in agricultural communications. I got my associate's degree in high school, so I always knew I wanted to double major, but I never really knew what. And I just kind of reflected on it for a while, and I was like, why don't I do something that I care about so much? And even though eventually I hope to be a large animal vet, I want to continue to be an advocate through social media, through the articles that I write for agriculture, because ad communications is so much fun, and it is truly one of the best ways and most accessible ways that we can reach people into sharing the stories behind agriculture. And you probably know this as well as I do, but it is truly something that I want to continue forever and ever. And like, I never want to let go of my SAE, even though it's something that I started out in high school. I really hope to continue to advocate throughout my life on social media, at least as long as social media is a thing.
Yeah, and that's great to hear. I'm so excited for you to run for state office. I know you would be a great state officer. And my
Thank
like
you.
and especially like I look up to you in so many ways. And especially to see you run for state office makes me want to run
Thank
even
you so
more.
much, Harmony.
Of course. And like I know I plan to run for state office as well, but my vision is like wherever God takes me, he will take me. So that's what I have a
Oh,
look at.
absolutely.
Yeah. And so that's just really like the plan is wherever God takes me, he takes me. And I feel like for you running at state office, that's definitely God pushing you towards that because you would be such a great state officer. And especially you being a large animal vet, you would be a great one too because Oklahoma, oh, that's going to be so much fun.
It's a very awesome campus, and it makes me really excited to know that, like you said, one way or another, I will end up in Oklahoma. And, like you said, wherever God takes me, it kind of ties back to what I said earlier about like being perfectly made. We don't know God's plan. And so to just live our lives to the best that we can and try as best as we can is really the only thing that we can do, whether in anything, in FFA, in our lives, in agriculture, in our hobbies, in our families. We just need to live every day like it's our last and live every day like this could be our lasting impact on the world.
Amen. And thank you so much for sharing your story. Now we're going to go into our little announcement section, starting off with our sponsors for Central Virginia Livestock Show. We competed that on May 2nd here in Central Virginia about. And so here are just all the sponsors that sponsored me, sponsored other middle school students at Liberty, and just helped us raise money for our animals and really get a return on investment. So, Bedford County Farm Bureau, Liberty FFA alumni and supporters, Johnson Electrical, HJ's Automotive, Chapel Creek Farms, Royal Oak, Updike Funeral Home, and State Farm. Thank you so much for sponsoring these kids and just letting them continue to do their livestock projects and be active in these animals. And then, so also coming up in about 2 weeks, we have State Convention at Virginia Tech. This would be, I don't even know, it's my third year going. I don't even know what it would be for you, Ainsley.
Year four.
Oh my gosh, that's so crazy to me. Oh, I'm going to be so sad when it's my fourth year. But that's just,
I know.
I'm gonna like cry the whole time. But it's definitely gonna be a special year because guess what? It's our 100th convention, which is crazy to believe that Virginia FFA.
So excited.
Yes, it's so crazy to believe that it's been going for over almost 100 years. Well, now 100 years. And to believe it's going to go for even more, hopefully get to 200, 300, is just crazy to think.
I know. It is so awesome. Like it is so awesome to be a part of something like that. And you and I probably know that is like, it's so awesome to be a part of this organization that's so much bigger than us.
Oh, yes. And to think that we have made a little bit of an impact by doing our social media, by doing all of this, is just really rewarding and really a testament to why we do what we do.
Absolutely.
And then, so coming in July is going to be at FFA Camp, where we just have a bunch of fun. We play a lot of games, do a lot of workshops, and honestly is my favorite thing to do during the summer, personally. I don't know about you, Ainsley, but
I love FFA camp. I went for my first and last time, and I even went by myself, but it's still so much fun.
it is. The food there is so good. It is like, I don't know what they
It
put in
really
it.
is. I love anything at Grace Mountain.
It is so good for no reason. And honestly, I just go back for the food mainly because the food is so good.
Yes.
And so that's going to wrap up our episode. Ainsley, is there anything else you'd like to say before we get going?
No, that is all. I just want to say thank you so much for having me on and letting me share my story.
Of course. And I can't wait to see what you do in the future. No matter what happens, you are going to be a great member of society. You already are. And you're going to make such an impact in everybody you meet lives. So thank you all for tuning in for episode 8. Continue to support us on Facebook and Instagram at Living in the Jacket. And look out for updates. I hope to grow it even more than it is right now, but we'll see what God takes us. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Bye!